Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Kalasanji, Radha Kalasanji, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Kalasanji, Radha Kalasanji, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Nitya Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitya Jai Gora Haribo. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Parahamsa Prakacharya Sutota Shashman, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Antikoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Nama Acharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath, Shamakun, Radhakun, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Kalashanji Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Maya, Yamuna Maya Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Yaga Ki Jai, Brihat Mridanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaura Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Go Premanandi, savor the whole world, Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, text number 27. I'll just read the Sanskrit. Dagasayo mukta samasta tadguno naivatmano bahir antar vichate parat manor yad vaidanyam purastad svapne yata purastad vinase. Translation. When a person becomes devoid of all material desires and liberated from all material qualities, he transcends distinctions between actions executed externally and internally. At that time, the difference between the soul and the supersoul, which was existing before self-realization, is annihilated. When a dream is over, there is no longer a distinction between the dream and the dreamer. Please repeat. When a person becomes devoid of all material desires and liberated from all material qualities, he transcends distinctions between actions executed externally and internally. At that time, the difference between the soul and the supersoul, which was existing before self-realization, is annihilated. When a dream is over, there is no longer a distinction between the dream and the dreamer. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. as described by Srila Rupa Goswami, Anabalishata Sunyam, one must be devoid of all material desires. When a person becomes devoid of all material desires, there is no longer need for speculative knowledge or fruitive activities. In that condition, it is to be understood that one is free from the material body. The example is already given above. A coconut, which is dry, is loosened from its outward husk. This is the stage of liberation. As said in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10.6, mukti, liberation, means svarupena vayashitaha, being situated in one's own constitutional position. All material desires are present as long as one is in the bodily concept of life. But when one realizes that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, his desires are no longer material. A devotee acts in this consciousness. In other words, when material desires in connection with the body are finished, one is actually liberated. One is liberated from the material qualities. When one is liberated from the material qualities, he does not do anything for his personal sense gratification. At that time, all activities performed by him are absolute. In the conditioned state, there are two kinds of activities. One acts on behalf of the body, and at the same time, he acts to become liberated. The devotee, when he is completely free from all material desires or all material qualities, transcends the duality of action for the body and soul. When the bodily concept of life is completely over, then the bodily concept of life is completely over. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Ita yasha harir dasye karmano manasya giri nikhilasva apa asvastu jivan mukta sauchate. When one is completely fixed in the service of the Lord, he is a liberated person in any condition of life. He is called jivan mukta, liberated even within this body. In such a liberated condition, there is no distinction between actions for sense gratification and actions for liberation. When one is liberated from the desires of sense gratification, he has no longer to suffer the reactions of lamentation or illusion. Activities performed by the karmis and jnanis are subject to lamentation and illusion, but a self-realized, liberated person, acting only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, experiences none. This is the stage of oneness, or merging into the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This means that the individual soul, while keeping his individuality, no longer has separate interests. He is fully in the service of the Lord, and he has nothing to do for his personal sense gratification. Therefore, he sees only the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not himself. His personal interest completely perishes. When a person comes out of a dream, the dream vanishes. While a dreaming person may consider himself a king and see the royal paraphernalia, his soldiers, etc., but when the dream is over, he does not see anything beyond himself. Similarly, a liberated person understands that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, acting in accordance with the desire of the Supreme Lord. And as such, there is no distinction between himself and the Supreme Lord, although both of them retain their individuality. Nityo nitanam chaitanas chaitanam. This is the perfect conception of oneness in relation to the supersoul and the soul. Wow. This is from a chapter titled Prithu Maharaj's Meeting with the Kumaras. Omaganam Tinandasya Jananjanan Salakaya Chakru Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobisham Chapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupat Karamayam Daranti Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubaischa Kripa Sindhuvasevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well, thanks for being here. Today's Saturday Srimad Bhagavatam class. Anybody tuning in online, we appreciate that. Everybody that's here, thank you for coming. Nandabraj Prabhu said that the theme for this month's classes or lectures is to talk about empowering and compassion for junior devotees. Empowering and compassion for junior devotees. So I was going to pick a verse with with Bhishma Dev in it, and this is the wrong canto, so I didn't have that one. So I just took a chance. Have you all ever done that? When you're having a problem or you're thinking about something in life, or you just open up any of Prabhupada's books and just close your eyes and pick a spot and then start reading. Have anybody done that? It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, you find out almost instantly, you get answers to your questions. It's so amazing. So I did that with this one, and it was really amazing because these are some of the things that I've been thinking about and dealing with lately. Like, what's the relationship between the soul and the super soul? And I've never heard it, Prabhupada speak this verse before. I don't remember. I've read this before, but I don't remember it. It's so amazing that there's practically oneness. A really pure devotee of the Lord practically becomes one with Krishna, but maintains an individuality. That's astonishing, isn't it? And it's also a little scary, you know, right? Is it like you're going to really give up all material desires and all your personal self-interest? Yeah, that's what happens. And there's a oneness with Krishna, but and Prabhupada calls it a oneness or merging into the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Well, doesn't it sound like Mayavad philosophy? Doesn't that sound like Mayavadi? Yeah, like merging in. Well, I think the difference with the Mayavadis is the Mayavadis merge into the effulgence of the Lord. They want to merge into the Brahmajyoti. And they're able to experience that through their meditation, right? The Brahmajyoti. And so going into the Brahmajyoti, it's very blissful, but it's impersonal, right? There's no personality to it. It's just bliss. And so the yogis, the meditators, they get hooked on that. And sometimes they even get some Paramatma realization. But they don't go any further, right? What's beyond beyond Brahmajyoti and Paramatma? What's the next step in God realization? Bhagavan, right? The personality of Godhead. And so this is vastly superior to the Lord's impersonal effulgence. But this is very interesting. Prabhupada's telling us that this means that the individual soul, while keeping his individuality, no longer has separate interests. So this is literally the goal of Krishna consciousness, to be so in tune with Krishna that we don't have any self-interests anymore. There's no separate interests. What we want for ourselves will be what Krishna wants for us, right? Can you imagine that? Living your day, the whole day, living your life in such a way that everything is in oneness with Krishna, that you're, from the moment you wake up till you go to sleep, everything is for and about Krishna. Who's the example we have of that? Right, Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, amazing, wasn't he? And as you're reading this, can you just feel that like Prabhupada's practically talking about himself, but in a very humble way, right? And he's giving it to us in a way we can understand it. This topic is not understandable. We can't understand it. We can't understand it. Only by Prabhupada's mercy are we able to understand these topics of Krishna and his energies and our relationship to him. We're stuck in the material world, but what are we really? We're spirit soul, right? Where do we really belong? In the spiritual world, right? And Krishna's there. He's enjoying his pastimes, and we belong with Krishna in the spiritual world. So this is the goal of the devotees. And once someone starts to become a devotee, you're immediately given the instruction to preach. What? I'm supposed to preach? Yeah, go out and distribute Prabhupada's books. Go out and tell other people about Krishna. And you have to preach to the level of understanding that you have. That's all you can do, right? But you can do that from the very first day. My spiritual master, when he joined in San Francisco in about 1967, 68, he'd only been in the temple for a couple weeks, and they said, you have to give class. And he says, I can't give class. I don't know the philosophy. And he goes, just read and speak from your realizations. Speak from your understanding to this point. So he did, and he started to give classes. And so each one of us can give class. We should all give class. And when we're talking to each other, we're sharing our realizations. And so this is what I thought of about empowering junior devotees, giving compassion to others. What's the topmost compassionate act that you could do for somebody? Is it like curing cancer, or finding a way to like grow unlimited healthy food? Or is it to be like to stop war? Would that be great? Would those be some of the greatest things that you could do for the world? Probably not the greatest. I'm thinking of something else. What are y'all thinking of? What's the greatest thing you could do for the world? Yeah, Harinam Sankirtan. Give people the holy name, because the holy name is going to be their avenue by which they get out of the material world. So no matter how good you make it in the material world, right, it's still the material world. And we're spirit souls. We're not our bodies. And so we want to go back to the spiritual realm. This is an example I know you've all heard before. What happens when the fish is out of water? He's not in a good position. He can't breathe. He can't enjoy himself. He's a fish. He belongs in the water. So you take the fish out of the water and you say, fish, I'll buy you a nice house. We'll get you a nice bed. You can rest. You can have no, he's never gonna be satisfied. In fact, he's going to constantly think, I need to get back to the water. That's our soul. Our soul is constantly thinking, get me back. Get me back to the spiritual world. How do I get back? And it's covered, though, because our senses, it's covered by our body and our senses are so strong, right? They're like horses, unbridled horses. Anybody seen a big, big horse? They've seen how powerful an animal that is? It's really amazing that the human can control the horse because he's smarter. And the horse, if he was smarter, he wouldn't listen to us, right? He would kick out his stall, he would break out and go do whatever he wanted to do. But the horse is controlled by a superior intellect. And that superior intellect is what we have. Our mind has to be used to control our senses. We've all seen it in the material world. People that are living lives of uncontrolled sense gratification crash and burn, right? It doesn't go well. And it happens again and again and again. That's why we're sitting here, because we've all realized that. We realize I'm not going to be happy in the material world. And to get out of this material world, I want Krishna. I want Krishna consciousness. I want the association of devotees. I want to chant the holy names. And part of that, implicit in that, is that we try to give Krishna to others. And Prabhupada established this from the very, very beginning of the Hare Krishna movement, the Krishna consciousness movement. He sent the devotees out on Nagar Sankirtan. They went out to chant the holy names. They went out to distribute books. Hippies were coming into the temple, and Prabhupada was preaching to them, and they were getting a huge response. And then after some time, they realized, we have to take the temple out. We have to take the temple, we have to take the holy name to the devotees. This is something that Prabhupada did through his Back to Godhead magazine, through his Srimad Bhagavatams that he published. And he would go to tea stalls, right? In India, in the big cities, he would distribute his literature to the folks drinking the tea. And can you imagine someone like Srila Prabhupada giving Krishna consciousness? So this is the way we should have compassion for each other and for someone who's junior to us. And really, anyone that we're going out preaching to is junior to us. And pretty much the whole world, all of us, they're all devotees, right? Everyone in the world's a devotee. They just don't know it, right? Because Krishna loves them. Isn't that amazing? Krishna loves every single soul equally. Wow. He wants all those souls to come back. All of these souls have left him. And so all the time Krishna's thinking, how can I get them back? How can I get them back? I'm missing them. I'm concerned for them. You know, the soul is never burned, it's never wetted, it's never dried, it's never destroyed, right? But that soul still goes into a material body, and the body, mind, intelligence, it suffers, right? When you get a little bit sick, you get a toothache, oh man, it's suffering time, right? God doesn't want us to suffer in the material world. He wants us to come back to the spiritual world. So the more we can give that to others, remind ourselves of it, that's what we have to do. And how do we really do that? How do we become devotees that are able to give compassion to others? I was thinking of this last night, and I think the most important quality, the most important factor is that we accept the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. We have to have the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. We have to be the prerequisite is having a teacher who understands the philosophy, understands Krishna consciousness. And there has to be an audience that is open and receptive, right? All of y'all are sitting here. Your eyes are open. You're listening. You're hearing. You're open and receptive to what's being said. And so this is the perfect arrangement of Krishna. And it's very rare that you get such mercy and you get to meet a pure devotee of the Lord like Srila Prabhupada. And then he's trained up so many men and women underneath him, his disciples. And they have disciples. And those disciples will have disciples, right? And it's a guru parampara. Wow. It's linked up. And it goes directly back to Krishna. And our line is really close to Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. We have Srila Prabhupada, we have Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his guru, Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, they're all on the altar. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, the direct disciples of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Does everyone know who Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is? Jai, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhar, Shivasati, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. It's said that chanting the Panchatattva Maha Mantra is more auspicious than chanting the Maha Mantra. What? Why aren't we chanting that? Because Prabhupada told us, no, you chant Hare Krishna because Lord Chaitanya said, chant Hare Krishna. And so we know, though, that if we chant Hare Krishna, that pleases Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. So we chant the holy names of the Lord to purify ourselves on their order. On their order. They were here only 500 years ago. You can go to Mayapur and see their pastime places where they did things. And some of their paraphernalia is still in some of the temples, right? Lord Nityananda's shoes and all of this auspicious things. And they're so merciful that Krishna has come in this form and said, I know you're in the dark ages. This is Kali Yuga, right? I know you're in the most difficult, precarious position you could be in. You're in the material world and you're in Kali Yuga. I'm going to make it really easy. Just chant my names. Chant the names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And when you do that, you can become a compassionate person. You can be someone who knows how to show compassion in the right way, right? Not by just like blowing on a boil. Who's ever had a boil? Anybody had a boil? Yeah, a couple. They're very unpleasant. They're big knotty things, right? And they get real big and they're like hot, you know, and they hurt. And when they get really big, there's a big ugly head in there, like a real knotty thing, you know, and so eventually you have to, on its own, it literally breaks open and it's like a blister, it gets better. But when you're suffering from it, if you blow on it, it feels better. Oh yeah, blow on that boil. But it doesn't last. How long can you blow on a boil, you know? It doesn't do any good. Because the boil is actually a symptom of something from inside, an impurity inside you that's not right. And so it comes out in that way. You get too heated, your body gets too heaty. Like in India during mango season, right? Mangoes are heating. They heat the body. They heat you up. But people can't resist the mangoes, right? Because they're so special and so sweet in India. But it's the warm season, right? So if you eat too many mangoes, you get boils. So we want to do more than just blow on a boil. We want to do more than just open hospitals. It's still nice to do those things, and we do those things, and we support the world as best we can. But the real goal, the overall goal of Hare Krishna, is to show compassion to the fallen souls. Krishna says, those that preach the glories of chanting Hare Krishna, they're more dear to me than Balaram, than myself. Krishna says they're more dear to me than myself. So he loves the devotees that go out and chant and preach. And Krishna stu Bhagavam Swayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's what we want to tell people, right? But they're not always ready to hear, right? People aren't always ready to hear that. We have to judge our audience. When we go out, they're all different kind of people, right? You might meet a drunk. You might meet an angry or hostile person. You might meet an atheist. You might meet a skeptic. You might meet somebody that's curious, someone that's eager to learn. You might meet a homeless person. You'll meet students in the temple. Students come to the temple just to check it out, and then they have to write reports back for their class. Do we know how to preach to each one of those? Do we know what to say in the right time, place, and circumstance? You know, we don't just start talking about Radha Krishna Bhav, right? Everybody knows that, Radha and Krishna, right? They're on the altar. Krishna and Radharani are bound in complete love, total spiritual love. We don't start to talk about that right away, right? We don't talk about esoteric, difficult subject matters. We start out, you're not your body, you know? Try chanting this Maha Mantra. Come read this book. I've read it, and it really helped me. Would you like to read it? Would you like a copy? Would you like to come and have lunch or dinner at our restaurant? Have you tried vegetarian food? People go, I've heard about that, but I've never tried it. I'd like to. There's a lot of people in the world, they know. Okay, they were raised eating meat all their life, right? Were any of y'all raised eating meat? I was. Yeah, but I always had something inside me, had this thing, vegetarian sounds pretty good. I want to try that. And then slowly, you know, you move to it. And now the thought of eating meat, it's ghastly, right? It's horrible. It's just disgusting. You can't even imagine. And so, knowing time, place, and circumstances, how do we preach? We want to be empowered. We want to have a spiritual master. And so, I know some of y'all have guru, or maybe aspire to have guru, but I just want to give you my recommendation is to surrender to a spiritual master. And there's two kinds of gurus, right? There's Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru. Shiksha Guru is anyone that you take instruction from. And you can have unlimited Shiksha Gurus, right? Anyone you learn from can be a Shiksha Guru. Our preeminent Shiksha Guru for the whole movement is Srila Prabhupada, right? He's a Shiksha Guru for everyone. He is the Diksha Guru for the disciples that he initiated during his lifetime. After he left, that was it. There's no more Diksha from Srila Prabhupada. But you can take shelter of Srila Prabhupada as a spiritual master, as a Shiksha Guru, an instructing Guru. But what you really want is a Diksha guru. You want a initiating spiritual master. Then you have a personal relationship with that person. They know you. They get to know you. And before they accept you as a disciple, they will get to know you and make sure, are you qualified? You have to get to know that guru and decide, is this my guru? Can I surrender my life? Can I follow his instructions? No meat, fish, or eggs, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. Every day chant 16 rounds, Hare Krishna. Are you ready to do that? The spiritual master helps you do that, and the process of surrendering to the spiritual master helps you to do that. You get help each step along the way in your Krishna consciousness. And as you go forward in the different levels and steps of Krishna consciousness, the guru is helping. And the guru, it's really amazing. The guru is actually who? It's Krishna, right? Krishna appears in the form of the guru in a special personal way just for you. Just for you. Gurus all have different personalities, and we're all attracted to different approaches, to different ways and just personalities. Krishna is the supreme personality, supremely attractive. And so when he empowers a guru, that person's really attractive too, right? Do you watch movies of Srila Prabhupada and you've seen videos of Prabhupada? He's so amazing to hear him speak and hear what he says and see how relaxed he is. He can become angry. He can give out, he can be chastising, but he always knew he was always Krishna conscious. And you can see that. Isn't it amazing? So, if you don't have a spiritual master, start thinking about it. That's the next step. That's a good step to take. And for me, I have a spiritual master, so my prayer is that I will follow his instructions better than I do right now. Because it's always a struggle. It's a struggle in the material world. We shouldn't get discouraged that we fall down, that we have problems, that we're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. Perfection comes after lots of practice, right? Does a surgeon, does a doctor get to go and operate on someone's brain the first day, the first day of medical school? No. Gosh, medical school is what, 6 years? And then there's a residency, and they practice, and even then, only the cream of the crop gets to do surgery, right? How skilled, how practiced you have to be to do that. So really, this is even harder than brain surgery. But it's also easier than brain surgery, right? We don't have to torture ourselves with books and classes. Well, we do. We want to read the books and go to the classes, but it's not the same kind of knowledge, right? We want the spiritual knowledge. The spiritual knowledge, it's not like material knowledge. The material knowledge goes in your head, and actually it kind of leaks out after a while, right? You might learn something, but the spiritual knowledge goes in. It doesn't leak out. It'll actually expand. It'll expand in your head. And you will get realizations, and you'll get mercy from the devotees, from Krishna, from gurus. It's just astonishing. So that's all I have to say. Do we have any comments or questions? I'm sorry the verse wasn't a little bit more connected to empowering, but I took that chance, and just picked one. But it's amazing, amazing verse, 4th canto. Do you ever read Prabhupada's books and then reread it, and then you read something and they go, I don't remember reading this before? Because it's ever new, it's ever fresh. You can read Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, as it is 100 times, and you will get new realizations every single time you read it. Krishna book is really like that. Because you think, oh, Krishna's pastimes, I've heard this pastime, but you read it again in Krishna book, you're like, oh my God, I don't remember this part. I don't remember this aspect. It's amazing. So please read Srila Prabhupada's books, and please chant Hare Krishna, and please be compassionate to others, right? Nantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
I think we have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you mentioned that earlier when you were talking about how when you're reading and we're trying to understand Shastra, and then we have to apply the principle according to time, place, and circumstance. So could you share an instance or a time where your Guru Maharaj or you as a collective of devotees or you yourself, you're preaching, but the method or the application of which your Guru had taught you or what Prabhupada taught you was a little different, and you had adapted to the circumstance?
Say that first part again. I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier you had mentioned when we were reading and when we're understanding the principles and instructions of our Guru and Prabhupada, that then we have to, when we're actually preaching and we're doing outreach, we have to adjust according to time, place, and circumstance. And so could you share a time or in your experience, whether you're Guru Maharaj or whether you yourself were collective devotees, you went down, you were doing outreach and you adjusted according to time, place, and circumstance?
I'll tell you this story, and it's kind of confidential, and it's a little hard to understand, but I usually don't tell it, but I will tell it. One time my spiritual master told me to wear blue jeans. And I was in Cambridge where he was studying for his PhD, and he had a house guest. He had a big house. It was like a separated house, so he could have guests, and he had his own separate little house, so next to the house. And so he had a guest for a couple days, Elizabeth Esperson. She was a nun, and she was very involved in, what do you call it? When religions get together, the ecumenical, councils and stuff. She was in charge of Thanksgiving Square in Dallas, and that's how he got to know her. So he's in Cambridge studying. She comes for a while, and I'm going to take her back to the airport. I'm going to drive her from Cambridge to Heathrow. And so I'm loading up her bags, and I have a kurta on and some blue jeans. And my guru goes, as I'm taking the luggage out, Miss Esperson's ready to go, he goes, "You just don't get it, do you?" He said, "Why are you," no, wait a minute, what was it? Let me get it right. No, I was wearing, it was blue jeans. No, I had a dhoti on. I already had a dhoti on. I had a dhoti and kurta on. And he goes, "Why are you wearing that?" He said, "You're going to be taking her to the airport, and you're going to get out of the car, and you're going to pull her bags out, and all the people are going to see you, and you're going to be dressed like Hare Krishna. And you're going to look odd. How's she going to feel?" Because she was a Christian lady, like she was a nun, a real Christian. And so he said, "Put on some jeans and a golf shirt." So I did. I put on, and I took her to the airport that way and helped her with her bags. And then I came back and then put on a dhoti and kurta. Excuse me. So that's the time I was doing some service for my spiritual master. And to do that, he wanted me to wear a certain, to present ourselves a certain way based on who we were around, right? Then another time, I used to do the Sunday cut-up. Anyway, every Sunday morning, I would do a big cut-up. So I would wear jeans and a kurta, and I did that one time, came into the temple room for Prabhupada's Guru Puja. So I was right there before the Guru Puja started, right? And I had jeans, and my spiritual master saw me, and he said, "Dharma, what are you wearing your dungarees for?" Dungarees, a name for jeans. I said, "Gurudev, I have to go do service right after this. I wanted to wear the jeans now so I don't have to change." He goes, "I don't care." He goes, "Don't you ever come in front of Srila Prabhupada without wearing a dhoti. When you come to Guru Puja, you always wear dhoti." I said, "Yes, Gurudev." I just ran home, put on a dhoti. Guru Puja, ran back, put on jeans, and did help with cut up. So those are some of the things. Those are a couple times. Thanks.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the great class. I was just wondering if you have some words of inspiration for us to be inspired to go out and preach and do book distribution. I was wondering if you have.
How to be inspired to go out and preach. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really deep question. Really deep. motivation. When I first joined, I got into the kirtans. They were amazing. And we'd dance like every day was like all out, hard dance, kirtans. So I love that, right? And so then when I got introduced to street Sankirtan, right? Nagar Sankirtan, going out and chanting and dancing in the streets. And we'd go to Deep Ellum, we'd go to different places, West End, every Saturday night. So I was really into that right away. That was my thing. I loved kirtan. And so I was in this back parking lot, and I said, I was with a senior devotee and another new guy like me, another new person. I was just a bhakta. And this bhakta was being asked to go out and do book distribution, you know, and he said, I really don't like doing book distribution. It's hard, you know, I don't want to do it. And then I chimed in, I said, yeah, we don't all have to do book distribution, do we? And then I said, like me, I like to do Harinam. And so, but that senior devotee heard that, and the next day I got called up to my Guru Maharaj's quarters. And he said, Bhakta Dan, I want you to go out and distribute books. In fact, the Christmas marathon is starting. I'm going to have Narottam take you out and show you how to do it. I got corrected right away. Not everyone needs to do book distribution. Oh, guess what? If you're a disciple of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, everyone does book distribution. So I surrendered to it, and I got shown how to do it. I would work at lights, you know, people park and lights, and we'd have a Christmas hat, a Santa hat, and we'd distribute books and donations, and it was a good approach. And so sometimes that's the benefit of having a guru or having good advisors. You know, take shelter of your advisors, because they'll help you. Anyone that's instructing you in Krishna consciousness right now, listen to them. They're not telling you to do something that's going to be to your detriment. You know, like I didn't want to do book distribution, but once I did, I was like, this is amazing. It's amazing. You can't imagine what it feels like. I mean, you have. Many of all have. After you go out and do 2, 3, 4 hours and you get rid of a whole case of books, you're euphoric. It's like nirvana. You're in ecstasy. Yeah, it's just wow, you know. We just distribute all these books. This is so amazing. And you got Lakshmi for Krishna, and you paid for the book, and you got a little more. And so the devotees that'll help you to do that, to help you get excited about going out and preaching. The way you're dressed right now, if you just go out like that to the store, if you have to go grocery shopping, or you have to go get something you need, if you wear this outfit, people are going to see that and go, wow. You know, sometimes they make snide comments, right? Oh, I like your dress. Well, it's not a dress. It's a dhoti, right? They don't care. The people make fun of you. But a lot of people will go, look, there's a spiritual person. And then they might even go, what's Jagannath mean? What's this? Why are you dressed like this? What do the lines on your forehead mean? And you get to preach to them, right? Oh, yeah, I've heard of that Kalachandji's restaurant. I want to go there. Yeah, please come. We're open lunch and dinner. So that's preaching too, you know. That's the way of, so just being the example of a devotee and going out in the world is preaching, right? So I hope that was a good answer. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you so much for the class, Dharma Prabhu. Particularly, I was appreciating the point of that what is real help for others. It's, you know, helping them to find Krishna. Everything else is just a Band-Aid, right? So I really appreciated that point. My question is, what does it mean? I was really appreciating, too, your encouragement of finding a Diksha Guru, finding the spiritual master, accepting Srila Prabhupada as Diksha Guru, but finding the Diksha Guru. And we mentioned surrendering, somebody we can surrender, somebody we can give a heart to. I was wondering what that looks like. How does somebody who's looking for a Diksha Guru know or feel surrender? Like, what is this process?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Some of us are initiated. What did we feel like when we met our spiritual master? Did we know right away? Did it come to us after a little while? Yeah. It's in the heart. Does anybody want to answer that? What did you feel?
Hare Krishna. This might, I don't know if this is universal. For me, well, I've heard for some people it's just about practicality. Like, I need to get initiated. Who's the, nearest guru? Do I like him or her? Okay. What I share with people whenever they ask me this is like, when they speak, you really hear it. Like, it goes into your heart, and you really hear it, and it really, makes a change. Like, for me, when I first came to Krishna consciousness, and I started listening to lectures by different people, and then I found my Guru Maharaj's lectures, and I just couldn't listen to anyone else anymore. Like, I would start to listen to another person, and I just couldn't feel it the same way, so I would just go back to listen to him. After a long time of listening to his lectures, he purified my heart to the point where now I can get nectar from listening to other people also. But at first it was like, this is the person that when they speak, I hear it. It just like cuts through everything and goes into my heart.
That's a great, great answer. I would have never thought of that, and it's perfect, and it's true. When you hear from a certain person a certain way, you're just attracted. They just talk to you in a way that you go, wow. That happened to me with Tamal Krishna Maharaj right here in the park. I came for Ratha Yatra, and he was the first person I ever heard speak about Hare Krishna. And I remember he said, Srimad Bhagavatam. I went, wow. All these things he was saying, I just wanted to hear more and more and more. So you're right, that's exactly what it is. And Guru is one, right? Krishna comes as the Guru, and Guru is one. So we can equally access Krishna through any bona fide Guru, but we have a personal relationship. Krishna's very personal, right? All Krishna's different names reflect Krishna's different relationships, his different personality, his just different facets of the multifaceted, beautiful stone, that's Krishna. So it's like that for us. It's not just dry. It's not just, well, you live in this zone, so you have this guru. No, we don't do that. You get to go out and meet gurus and see who attracts you.
I was also thinking that sometimes our primary guru will just be a Shiksha guru. They maybe don't take disciples, like a lot of people that were very strong followers of Ayendra Prabhu. I don't think he ever took disciples. So they had an initiating spiritual master, and then they accepted. So we can do that too. Like, if we find that I'm so attracted to this one person, but they're not initiating, or they're not initiating me, take initiation from someone else that you have a good relationship with, practically, and then just take like Shiksha and Diksha gurus are also non-different. It's not on a higher or lower platform.
Jai, thank you. I agree with that. I think you're absolutely right. And my Guru Maharaj said that you want a Shiksha gurus that are sort of in line with your Diksha guru, so you don't have conflict, just, they have similar personalities, because there's all kind of personalities out there, right? So, yeah, thank you so much. It's such a wonderful thing. Don't think it's going to be a difficult thing, right, to surrender, to find a spiritual master. It's going to be enjoyable, because when you find the person, you're like, wow, you're going to know it, right? It's in your heart. You're going to feel it. This person, I can feel this person's my spiritual master. I started out with Paramahamsa Yogananda. Did anybody start out reading his books? Yeah. And so you read his books, and then I started to correspond with his followers in California, and they sent me literature. And then after a while, they said, now you can have initiation from Yogananda. And I was like, he's gone. He's not living. He passed away like 58 or something. I said, I want a living guru, So I said, thank you, but no. And then right after that, I came to the Hare Krishna. So it depends on your desire too, People are out there, they're enjoying themselves. They don't think they got any problems. So the first step is knowing, hey, I got a big problem here. The material world really stinks. The material world is pretty horrible, And if I'm going to get out of here, if I'm going to learn about some spiritual concepts, I need somebody really good, to help me, a really good teacher. And we get Prabhupada. And we get Prabhupada's disciples and grand disciples to follow. And is that enough? I mean, there's so many, right? If I hadn't surrendered to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, I've met some of his godbrothers. They blow my mind. I would love to surrender to so many of them. We all know them, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, Indrayumna Maharaj, all of it. They're Shivaram Swami in Hungary, Bibi Govinda Swami. These they're not ordinary people. They're extraordinary persons. So, it's also good to have Shiksha Gurus. We can have one Diksha Guru, but we should have Shiksha Gurus too. And it can be just as formal. You can be just as formal. You can go to a Shiksha Guru and say, I want to accept you as a Shiksha Guru. And will you accept me and I accept you? Yeah, it can be real formal if you want to. Me, I haven't done that. I'm keeping it because I'm having trouble with surrender. So I aspire to have some more Shiksha Gurus. But it's hard. It's hard to surrender. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Sorry, I went a little bit over, 8:38. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Prabhupada ki.